The 2020 NBA season will go down in history, and so will the 2020 NBA draft. I know that's not because of 6'7" LaMelo Ball with the NBA's most talkative dad ever, LeVar Ball, or the human highlight reel that is Anthony Edwards. I'm not even talking about James Wiseman, who was the unanimous first overall pick coming out of high school prior to being ruled out of college. I'm obviously talking about the circumstances that surround these players and NBA teams that are looking to draft these 2020 prospects. There is still so much that remains unproven about this draft class. Prospects did not get a chance to catapult themselves up the board with a stellar showing at March Madness, like we've seen so often throughout the last several years. Projected top 5 picks James Wiseman and LaMelo Ball had seasons cut short and have question marks that still remain over them. However, despite the circumstances, despite the question marks, the draft will still go on. And with that being said, it's of the utmost importance that NBA scouts do their due diligence when scouting these players and find the best prospects available for their respective teams. So with all of that being said, starting the draft with the number 1 overall pick is last year's finalists, the Golden State Warriors. Unbelievable, I know. I chose not to randomize the draft order and just go in order of record, starting from worst to best. What do we know about this Warriors team? We know that they are arguably the best backcourt of all time, and despite both Klay and Steph coming off significant injuries, particularly Klay, I still have full confidence in these two being all-star level players, with my personal belief that Klay will improve his scoring and playmaking output with no Kevin Durant and a regressed Draymond Green. The Warriors will be ready for a bounce back, and as they look to challenge for yet another championship, they want a piece that will help them improve immediately. And with that being said, I find it likely that the Warriors look to secure a star player or multiple players in return for their first pick. But despite the likelihood of that happening, we have to look at the best fit for the Warriors if they were to draft at the number 1 overall position. And for me, that has to be James Wiseman out of Memphis. Heading into the college season, Wiseman was seen as the unanimous top pick, a 7'1" center with a 7'6" wingspan and a shooting touch, proven by his 70% free throw shooting at the college level. Wiseman is an elite rim runner, so pairing him with Stephen Curry and Draymond Green will allow for numerous high percentage scoring opportunities, seen through his first 3 college games in which he averaged 19 points per game on 76% from the field. It's harsh to expect Wiseman to be a game changer at such a young age, but that's why he fits the Warriors so well, because he won't need to be. If he can provide an impact on defense, which he showed was possible at college, and can be effective in the pick and roll, then the Warriors would be more than happy with his impact as a teenager. With the 2nd overall pick, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Anthony Edwards. From a fit basis, Edwards would be the 3rd consecutive guard picked by the Cavs in the 1st round. But having shown a tendency to pick the best player available under GM Toby Altman, I can't see the Cavs passing up on Anthony Edwards if he were to slip to the number 2 spot. Edwards is an extremely good athlete who has the ability to score from numerous places on the floor. He does, however, have question marks over his efficiency, mostly a result of his decision making, taking tough contested shots and a lot of his shots off the dribble. However, the Cavs would have to work out a rotation of Garland, Sexton and Edwards if they were to pick him, with Sexton a solidified starter in the team after an incredible scoring stretch prior to the season ending. Edwards and Garland might have to share minutes. However, for a young team like Cleveland looking to assemble the most talented team possible, Edwards fits the bill. It could be a few years before Edwards' flashes turn into consistent moments of brilliance, but if he can put all his tools to good use, then the Cavs would have a star for the future. With the 3rd overall pick, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves selecting Isaac Okoro. It wouldn't surprise me if Edwards and Okoro were to switch places, with the Cavs looking to select a small forward in addition to their 2 guards, but I do believe the Cavs will pick Edwards. Okoro is a 6'6" small forward with an NBA-ready frame who has made his case as one of the best defenders in the draft. Okoro is an elite finisher around the rim, as he is good at using his frame and quickness to get by defenders and finish, shooting 64% around the rim, ranking him in the top 89 percentile in all of college basketball. Following the addition of D'Angelo Russell and Malik Beasley, the Timberwolves have a backcourt that can shoot from distance at a high volume and a good percentage. This is important for Okoro, as his major flaw so far has been his shooting stroke from distance and from the free throw line. With such a good shooting backcourt and the best shooting big in the league, Okoro will be enabled to do his best work around the rim and be an important piece for the Timberwolves on the defensive end as a potential defensive star. With the 4th pick in the draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Denny Avdija. Having found their franchise point guard, it's hard to see the Hawks picking another ball-dominant guard here, which is why I see them picking Avdija. Avdija entered this year's draft as a top prospect, and he did nothing to suggest he is anything short of that currently. Denny has elite playmaking ability for a forward, as he does a great job reading the defense, With this ability to playmake, Avdija will provide relief for Trae Young as he continues to carry such a heavy load for the Hawks, potentially incorporating himself in a pick and roll with John Collins. Avdija's most obvious weakness is his ability to shoot the ball, shooting 30% from beyond the arc and 50% from the free throw line. Despite his struggles from both the line and beyond the arc, Denny still proved to be an efficient scorer from the field because of his tendency to take high IQ shots. Using his length and ball handling ability to finish well at the rim, Avdija proved himself to be a top overall pick and a perfect fit for the Hawks at the number 4 spot. With the 5th overall pick, the Detroit Pistons select LaMelo Ball. Before people get on my back for having Melo at the 5th pick, he is a top 3 talent, but it's incredibly unlikely the Hawks or Timberwolves select a ball-dominant guard, with each of those teams having 2 All-Stars already at that position. So at the 5th pick, the Pistons will be elated with the chance to pick Melo. There has been a lot made of his weaknesses, such as his inconsistent shooting and turnover-prone passing, but Melo remains an elite passer with a very good handle that allows him to beat defenders seamlessly as he glides to the rim, finishing with either hand. LaMelo doesn't just find open shooters, he creates open shots, and that'll be beneficial for a Pistons team that haven't had a franchise point guard since Mr. Big Shot. As the Pistons look to rebuild, Ball will be given the keys to the offense, while being able to learn under former MVP and potential 6th man of the year D Rose. This pick makes all the sense in the world for the Pistons if he were to slip to the number 5 position. At number 6, the New York Knicks select Tyrese Haliburton. A 6'5" point guard with a 7-foot wingspan is the ideal size for a guard in today's NBA. Haliburton is a very good passer who has shown a consistent ability to find his teammates open and in space, contributing to his 6.5 assists per game on an impressive assist-to-turnover ratio. Haliburton's 7-foot wingspan allows him to be effective on the defensive end of the floor as well, as he is able to disrupt the offense as both an on-ball and an off-ball defender. In addition to both of these attributes, he also shot exceptionally well from the field and beyond the arc this season, shooting above 50% from the field and just under 42% from 3. His main scoring tool was his floater, that he likes to use when defenders cover the lob that he's very capable of throwing. His apparent weakness is his lack of athleticism, which could be his biggest issue at an NBA level, but his 7-foot wingspan could help combat that, as he will require less separation than the average guard to get his shot over much smaller defenders. At the number 7 overall pick for the 4th consecutive year, the Chicago Bulls select Killian Hayes. Kobe White emerged for the Bulls late in the season as a legit scorer, but despite this, I like the idea of the Bulls getting a point guard who is more of a playmaker, and with the 7th overall pick, the Bulls do exactly that. A top prospect out of Europe for a number of years, Hayes has played 72 games professionally and will benefit from that experience when entering the NBA. Hayes, like Haliburton and Melo, is a very good passer, particularly when he uses his left hand, as he likes to whip passes, creating open shots for shooters. Despite not shooting well from 3-point range, Hayes was one of the top mid-range shooters in the league, proving that he has the touch and mechanics necessary to translate that into shooting from beyond the arc. Hayes is not aggressive at getting to the rim, but he is capable with a mixture of good handles and body control, combined with a nice touch, particularly with his left, enabling him to finish on multiple occasions. However, like many of the potential top prospects, Hayes does lack elite athleticism, as he is not someone who is going to jump out the gym. Despite that, Hayes does have the ability to stop on a dime, which I believe is much more crucial for a point guard than their vertical ability, as this is the differentiating factor between getting off a contested mid-range shot or a high percentage mid-range shot that we've seen Hayes excel in throughout his professional career. An average defender, Hayes will not be a liability, but is unlikely to become a major positive on the defensive end of the ball, like a Chris Dunn or Lonzo Ball. Hayes could see early minutes as a starter if drafted by the Bulls, with the potential of Kobe White at the 2 and Levine at the 3, making for a dynamic offense that could be really exciting for Bulls fans to watch. With the 8th overall pick, the Charlotte Hornets select Onyeka Okongwu, potentially the steal of the draft at the 8th overall selection if he were to fall. I see Okongwu either being selected at 5 by the Pistons or sliding all the way to 8 for the Hornets, given the investments the Bulls and Knicks have put into both of their respective young bigs. Okongwu is almost a complete center, lacking size and spacing ability. Okongwu makes up for it with a 7'1" wingspan and great athleticism, allowing him to contest a high number of shots. Okongwu is up there with Okoro as one of the best defenders in the draft. His ability to match it with bigs inside due to his frame and length, but an ability to guard on the perimeter due to his mobility, is incredibly important for him and for the modern day center, which makes him a desirable pick for the Hornets. Despite not being able to shoot from deep, Okongwu has shown enough touch from the line and the field to suggest he could potentially incorporate a 3-ball into his game at a later date. So despite a lack of shooting, his athleticism and footwork allow him to finish well at the rim, particularly when defenders choose to press up on him. With the 9th pick, the Washington Wizards select Tyreese Maxie. Despite having a top 2 shooting guard in the league and the prospect of all-star point guard John Wall returning soon, I believe the Wizards go the best player available remaining, and that's Maxie for me. Maxie is a combo guard who uses combination of speed and strength to get to the rim and finish through contact. Displaying an ability to make tough layups, Maxie showed an ability to find weaknesses in teams' defense, displayed by his willingness to shoot the mid-range when given the opportunity as a result of defenders sagging off because of his ability in the pick and roll game and getting to the rim. On the defensive end of the floor, Maxie has the mentality to guard players 1 through 3, and his 6'7" wingspan and lateral quickness have seen him be one of the best defenders in college, particularly at the guard position. Like many other highly rated players, Maxie is yet to prove he's a consistent perimeter shooter, shooting under 30% from 3. Despite showing off an impressive mid-range game off the dribble. However, despite his trouble shooting from 3, Maxie is a good pick and roll player who has the potential to play at the 1 or the 2 and guard positions 1 through 3. Maxie could provide relief for Wall throughout the season at the 1, sharing ball handling duties with Beal when on the court together, or he could come off the bench and start at the 2 in replacement of Beal. At number 10, I have the Phoenix Suns selecting Obi Toppin. Having secured a quality point guard to go with franchise cornerstones Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton, alongside the emergence of Kelly Oubre Jr., Toppin seems the most logical choice for the Suns as an NBA-ready power forward. Toppin has shot up draft boards in recent times after impressive performances and a number of top prospects not performing at a particularly high level. At 22 years old, Toppin is undoubtedly one of the most skilled offensive prospects in the draft, having shown a consistent 3-point shot, mixed with an ability to find open shooters and a willingness to roll to the rim. His ability to shoot the 3 and catch lobs would be a perfect fit next to one of the best passers in the game, Ricky Rubio, and an improving playmaker in Devin Booker. Despite having such a strong offensive game, Toppin has proven to be a defensive liability, with an inability to guard paints in the big and a tendency to let guards go past him far too often. So for the Suns, it might be best to pair him with defensive players in a second unit, the likes of Mikal Bridges and Aaron Baines, to hide his defensive deficiencies and let his offensive game shine through. That's it for the top 10 overall picks in the 2020 NBA Draft. If you agree with the picks, let me know below. If you want to see later lottery picks and the rest of the first round, also let me know. Cheers.